I didn't really follow the elbows up. Can you explain?
Not really.
I've got a spicy one for you here today. Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today we've got Mark Carney. He, I believe, gave 2 press conferences or events yesterday. And in his event in, I believe, Kitchener, he was heckled about a certain guy who had an island. It is pretty shocking what the guy says. We also got Danielle Smith completely blasting Mark Carney. Got new polling data. Got a bunch of other stuff. Let's jump into this. First up, let's start with this Ecos poll. So complete garbage data as per usual. 49.6% for the Liberals. Get real. 34% for the Conservatives. This is not a real poll. This is not anything to take serious. As Pleb is posted here, Ecos is fake news. Just look at the size of these crowds Pierre is pulling. Like, this is outrageous. Look how big this crowd is. Got to make it too big to rig. Also got Main Street poll. Early on, these guys were pulling very heavy Liberal numbers. They've got 44% Liberals, 40% Conservatives. So moving on to our feature event here. Mark Carney speaking French. He has a bit of a delay, and I'll boost the audio so you can really hear it. But just listening to the event myself, I could hear it as clear as day without boosting the audio.
On ne reconnaît pas les peuples autochtones.
How many kids did you have, Jeffrey?
Il y... Honnêtement. Honnêtement.
He's nervous. Look at that. Look at the laugh.
Et il y aura.
So we're going to take a look at this again. I'm going to turn on the caption so you can see what he's saying here. It's a little bizarre. And we're going to look at this body language too, because this is a guy who is noticeably shook. He's not a polished politician like Justin Trudeau. He doesn't know how to deal with this kind of stuff. He didn't expect someone to say that to him. So what he's doing here is he's getting a shocked reaction. And often how people dismantle nervousness, whether they're guilty or not guilty, is through smiling and laughing. It helps to remove nervous energy. That's what we're getting with Mark Carney.
On ne reconnaît pas les peuples autochtones.
How many kids did you have, Jeffrey?
You see the eyebrows there. He turned and he wanted to see who said that. He's taking numbers here.
Honnêtement. Honnêtement.
So he's trying to slough it off here. So it's saying kids in your heart. Heart in your... In your heart, in your heart. I don't know what that is. Is that some sort of French phrase or something? His laughter, though, here is noticeably forced. He does not like this situation. Noticeably awkward and trying to diffuse some of that pent-up energy.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, so much, and then he says "wow" in English, and "okay" in English.
Mon Dieu. Look, give up your, so.
Look, give up your so in English. He switches back to French.
This is the, ça c'est le produit des politiques de division. Des théories conspiratoires.
So I'm assuming he said political division, conspiracy theory, something like that. He's noticeably shook. He's switching languages back and forth.
Dans les coins cachés. Qui sont...
He's trying to hold this together, but he's noticeably was not ready for that. So jumping over to this website here, this is Reed and Associates. It says here they began to develop interrogation techniques in 1947. They specialize in this, and they specialize in reading body language. I just wanted to point this out from a source, given the magnitude of the statement there that was made to Mark Carney. So we look here in evaluating a smile. A forced or insincere smile is often used to disguise dislike or anxiety. So that's what we had from Mark Carney. He was kind of like laughing to himself. He wasn't laughing outright because he was up on podium, but so I kind of put it halfway between the smile and the laugh. This is evaluating the laugh. Psychologically, the laugh relieves much more anxiety than a mere smile and sends much stronger social signals. Studies have shown laughter lowers blood pressure, stress hormones, and mutual laughter builds stronger interpersonal relations, etc. The first cause for laughter during an interview is anxiety release. This should be associated equally with truthful and deceptive suspects. The nervous suspect will look for any excuse to laugh or relieve anxiety. So I don't know if Mark Carney is guilty or not guilty. Either way, he is nervous. He's trying to diffuse that nervous energy out of his body with this laugh here. Wow. Didn't expect that coming. Moving on here, we've got Ezra Levant from Rebel News saying, my first campaign ad from my super PAC.
Would you let Jeffrey Epstein watch your kids? Didn't think so. What about his accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell? Hard pass. So why trust him? Mark Carney, Maxwell's friend, not yours.
That's straight to the point, isn't it? This is just fantastic. That's going to leave a mark. Next up, we've got Evan Solomon. Remember, this is the art dealer guy? He's standing out here. They've got their campaign office up and running in Toronto Centre. We take a closer look. These guys are standing in a bunch of piss. This is so embarrassing. Even if it's a spilled drink, do they not realize how dumb this looks? Put it to the Liberals to take a photo like this. So next up, we have Donald Trump is putting 25% tariffs on cars, on any parts. This is not good for Canada. And he's made some interesting tax changes.
Mr. President, on the car tariffs, how do you assure that a car coming into the country is fully built? Could an automaker in Germany say, move the tires off a car?
Yeah, we're going to have very strong policing, and it's pretty easy to do. If parts are made in America and a car isn't, those parts are not going to be taxed or tariffed. And we'll have very strong policing as far as that's concerned. For the most part, I think it's going to lead cars to be made in one location. You know, right now, a car would be made here, sent to Canada, sent to Mexico, sent all over the place. It's ridiculous.
So 25% tariffs. Ontario, good luck with Doug Ford. Now check out this one here. They're allowing people to write off the interest on car loans.
We're trying to get approved, if we can. If you borrow money to buy a car, you're allowed to deduct interest payments for purposes of income tax, but only if the car is made in America. So if the car is made in America, you get a loan, you can deduct the interest. That's a big saving.
Interesting move. And we've got Mark Carney replying to this. I thought this is funny, this video here showing them how they set this up in some sort of hotel room.
I think it would be appropriate that the President and I speak, given the action that he's taken. I'm sure that will happen soon. I'm not going to give you a precise timing on that. In terms of options, which was the second part of Ms. Martin's question.
I'm sure it'll happen soon. Does this sound like a leader? He's not taking any action on this. He's not going to respond at all. This looks so weak.
Even during a caretaker period of government, we have anticipated this possibility. We have put in place the mechanisms so that if it is appropriate for retaliatory tariffs, and there's many considerations to be taken in those regards, and I want to have the meeting of our cabinet, Canada-U.S. cabinet, other considerations. We need to see the details of the executive order, but we will take the steps that are in the interest of Canadian workers of Canada. We are going to stand up for Canada. We're going to be united.
Stand up, but not do anything. He should immediately cut taxes is what he should be doing. We will fight in a unified way, and I would say, if I may, and I will, Lana and Ms. Payne can speak for herself, obviously, the discussions that we've had, the discussions I've had with Premier. This guy's an absolute snooze fest, and he's weak. Brittany posting this one here so you can see how this looks through the camera. But more notably, check this out. After he finishes his statements, he just walks off. He doesn't answer the questions from the reporters there.
In terms of the seriousness with which we're taking this and the seriousness of our response. Thank you very much.
I don't know.
So all the reporters are kind of like puzzled. They're like, what? He just took off? We stood around here for nothing. Essentially, as she says here, a man says, I don't know, and the feed just ends. So I show Pierre Poilievre's rally here in Quebec, in contrast to Mark Carney's.
Quebecers, do not tear down their statues, pull down their flags, or hide who they are. They sing their songs, tell their stories, and wave their flag.
Getting a strong response in Quebec. We got a lady asking here, why is he speaking English in Quebec City? Alexandra from Rebel News. He spoke almost entirely in French, only that part was in English. There's always a liberal troll trying to get a dig in. Next up, we got Daniel Smith going absolutely scorched earth on Mark Carney.
And I am now off to the US yet again to try and speak to Americans, this time through the second largest podcaster in the world, whose audience is made up of exactly the people we need to persuade to convince their president to change course on tariffs against Canada. And what does Team Carney want me to do? They want me to abandon my post, remain in Alberta, and do absolutely nothing to defend our province. They want me to cower in the face of Eastern media pundits and politicians who favor political grandstanding to effective diplomacy. I'm fiercely criticized for going into the lion's den to change the hearts and minds of the very Americans that we need on Canada's side to avoid a trade war with the most powerful economy on earth. They want this lady and Alberta to just sit down and shut up. Well, here is my response to that. I will not be silent. Alberta will not be silent. We will not be pushed around and called traitors for merely having the courage to actually do something about our nation's and province's predicament other than merely indulging in self-righteous tantrums. And I, for one, will never be silenced by the party in Ottawa that has sold out our beloved province for the last 10 years with the help of their NDP collaborators.
Whoa, she's going off. So second largest podcast. So looking it up, it says Mel Robbins is the second largest podcast. I'm not sure. Some people think it's Ben Shapiro. That could be too. Next up, I want to point out this here, Shandra Arya coming out saying today, the Globe and Mail published an article on the Liberal Party revoking his candidacy as a member of Parliament. And he replied here, as a member of Parliament, I've engaged with numerous diplomats, heads of government, both in Canada and internationally. Not once have I sought nor been required to seek permission from the government to do so. He's saying he's basically not involved in any sort of foreign interference. There's something else that's very suspicious with the timing of all of this. It's very weird that Shandra Arya has been very quiet, but then if you look into it, he has a son, Siddharth Arya, and where did he work? Brookfield Asset Management. But up until January of 2025, he was the director and CFO of Infrastructure India. This lines up exactly with Shandra Arya was disqualified, I believe, January 26th for the Liberal leadership race. So something is funny going on here. The timing is the same here. He either was let go or he stepped down from Brookfield at the same time that Shandra was kicked out. Next up, we got Government EXE sharing this campaign clip from Mark Carney. This is awful. As he says here, they're trying to exploit 9/11 for political gain. Not even Justin Trudeau would stoop this low. Trudeau might.
In all, 38 planes landed here. Almost 7,000 bewildered passengers.
For 5 days, the town of 10,000 people welcomed the passengers into their homes.
Gander's hockey arena became a warehouse for stacks of food and drinks. And the laid-back charm of the town and surrounding communities soon put their distraught guests at ease.
They opened their hearts, their homes. Those Newfoundlanders were absolutely awesome.
Yeah, that's awful. It's taking advantage of the situation here, 9/11. Next up, we got this video from Rebel News. I thought this was pretty interesting. They're going around asking people about this stupid elbows up thing, and these people don't even know what it means.
Canada is already great. Elbows up.
I didn't really follow the elbows up. Can you explain?
Not really.
How did you react when he said that he would prefer to deal with a liberal than a conservative?
Given how he's been talking before about how he really liked the conservative government, personally, I think he's lying through his teeth.
Now we're saying elbows up. It means that we're prepared to fight, that you're messing with us, you're messing with Canadians. We're not standing for it. It's our call for unity.
Can I ask you what? No?
Call for unity. Okay.
Which leader do you think it would be the best to deal with Donald Trump?
Based on the ones we've got, I'm going to say Carney.
But Carney also moved the headquarters of Brookfield Asset Management to avoid the tariff before they were even applied.
Yes, and?
It's a pretty clear message to Donald Trump that he is not welcome here.
These people are so dumb. He doesn't even care that he moved the corporation headquarters to America. Just doesn't care. These people don't think for themselves. I was wondering who would be interested in voting for Carney. Mystery solved. Yikes. All I hear is sheep. Bah. Elbows up, peasants. Oh, this is embarrassing. I'm speechless. We got Pierre Poilievre here making more campaign stops.
Hi, everybody. Great to see you. cutting the ham and the taxes so that you can bring home the bacon.
Campaigning in full effect now. Next up, we got Juno News posting this clip here, where Mark Carney's taken a little page out of Justin Trudeau's book of blaming Stephen Harper.
And the first part of Canada Strong, it means an armed forces that are well-resourced and has those very resources at the ready. And we're here, I'm here, to make that happen. Our military is still underfunded. Under the last Conservative government...
Wait, you just said our military is still underfunded, and you're the economic advisor to Justin Trudeau, who's been here for the last 9 years. Why is it still underfunded then? You can't keep blaming Harper 9 years later.
Under the last Conservative government, when Pierre Poilievre was a minister, that government was spending less than 1% of GDP on defense.
Wow, he sounds like Trudeau here. Blame someone 10 years ago. Great strategy. Next up, we got Blanchette here, once again saying no pipelines.
And I can assure you that even without our strong opposition to that project, they cannot put on the table a viable project about what was previously called Energy Est.
Energy East. Energy East, yeah. This is gonna get messy. To round out this episode, I thought this was funny. So there's some music there, I have to hide that. But look at this, people are just putting like Toyota on the back of their Cybertruck so they don't get attacked by people on the road. That's the kind of clown world we're living in now. That was definitely a shocker to see Mark Carney getting called out like that. There was actually someone else in the crowd who said something. I don't know what the guy said, but apparently 2 people were thrown out of the event. And just think, we're only a couple days into this election campaign. What's tomorrow gonna bring?